Some good news for a major property in the West. Police investigating a break-in overnight. And volunteer firefighting training underway on the island of Bimini.
The Bahamas Tonight Northern Edition starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, all. I'm Megan Shepard. Thank you so much for tuning in. Topping news this evening, some good news for West Grand Bahama as the old Bahama Bay property prepares to transition to new investors. Jay Philippe has that story.
LRA Old Bahama Bay Limited, the owners of the marina and other assets at Old Bahama Bay, are currently preparing to transition their assets to a new investor. Spokesperson Sir Kirkby says Old Bahama Bay owners and representatives have plans in place that would lead to the further development of West End.
In order to do this, they've got to close the marina, assess where they're at, check the restaurants, and confirm that everything's ready within the very positive aspect of selling the property, and hoping that we all do that a great development will happen down in West End as soon as possible.
Kirkby also noted that as part of the transition, Tenant Island Adventures Resort and Club was given appropriate notice several months ago that the lease to operate Old Bahama Bay's asset would be terminated. She says Island Ventures Resort and Club accepted the notice and agreed to fully comply.
They've been in contact with the government. The government knows exactly what's going on. And the positive really is that it will mean going forward and that hopefully good things are going to happen in the area. Unfortunate negative is that the marina might be closed for a few weeks. We don't know. It depends on how it takes long for them to secure their facilities and to make sure everything's going.
Kirkby says this is good news for the property as the infrastructure is already in place and it's a matter of time before the property expands.
It's all prepped and ready to be one of the most beautiful resorts. It's got a golf course, it's got its own airport, it's got everything it needs to make it happen. It's just got to happen now and find the right developer for that. And I believe the government is working consistently to make this happen. And, LRA with Old Bahama Bay Holdings is wanting that to happen. And so this is what they're doing in order to make it happen.
I'm Jay Philippe, ZNS Network News.
Police are investigating an apparent break-in on Grand Bahama. Reports say vandals entered the bank overnight, leaving a trail of damage and impacting the operations of the lending facility. On one of the busiest banking days of the week, residents on Grand Bahama were unable to carry out normal transactions due to an overnight break-in at the Royal Bank of Canada. Residents approached the bank early Friday morning and were advised that due to unfortunate circumstances, inside of the bank would be closed temporarily, but access to the ATM was still available. Now, residents arriving at the bank early this morning were informed by the security guard that only the ATM services were available and that he was unable to give a time as to when the bank would reopen.
Good morning. Unfortunately, the bank itself is closed, and we don't have a time frame exactly when we will be able to open the bank for your transaction. But if you would like to use and utilize the ATM machine, you can do that for withdrawals.
Some residents were disappointed with the news, while some were satisfied with completing their transactions at the ATM machines. Now, reports from police are that on Friday, December 7th, shortly after 12 a.m., police were alerted to the financial institution on Explorers Way and the Mall Drive. Officers arrived at that location and discovered an eastern window to the establishment smashed. Officers then proceeded into the interior of the establishment and discovered that culprits had entered and caused extensive damage. A representative of the financial institution reported that no cash was stolen. Around 10 a.m., a glass repair company arrived on the scene to begin the repair process. Now, police are appealing to anyone with information to call your nearest police station. This is the Yuletide season, and police officials on Grand Bahama say you can expect increased visibility throughout the holidays. Tonight, they are calling on members of the public to make crime prevention their goal as well. Jay Philippe explains.
The Royal Bahamas Police Force is urging the public to be more vigilant this holiday season. Assistant Superintendent of Police Teresita Pinder says safety is of paramount importance and residents must be aware that they have a role to play as well.
We have persons who are still leaving their properties in their vehicles, such as bags, wallets, cell phones, monies, jewelry, and they're leaving it visible to the public. We call that crimes of opportunity. You have persons who have that mindset, they're going to take it, they're going to steal it. So we're asking the public to please just be a little bit more responsible for your own property.
Based on statistics, there is an uptick in crime around the holiday season, and this year residents are cautioned to act responsibly and not create an opportunity for crime this time around.
Basically around this time, everybody's shopping. Persons of the mindset that, they know that persons are shopping, there's money to be spent, they're going to put themselves in places where they're going to be visible to find out who's going to be that negligent to leave such things behind.
Females are generally the victims in such cases. ASAP Pinder is advising women to be alert at all times.
Females tend to be the victims more of these such crimes. So we're asking the females, especially the females, to please, be more responsible for your items. Keep your handbags on your shoulder. Keep your handbags to yourself. Do not leave your handbags, your wallets, your jewelry, your cell phones visible for others to see in your vehicles. Secondly, let's go to the males now. We have a habit of leaving our vehicles running into the food store. And then we come outside, we find that our vehicles are gone. Most of the time, we find these vehicles. But we're asking you to please just be a little bit more responsible for your own things.
The holiday season is in full gear, and with extended business hours and an increase in shopping, the message is it's better to be safe than sorry. I'm Jay Philippe, ZNS Network News.
Firefighters from around the world are on the island of Bimini to offer their professional services. Over 10 persons on the island have volunteered for training in firefighting. This coming after the island's mailboat caught fire back in June. Rumiko Knowles traveled to Bimini today to observe the exercise.
Lieutenant Tim Neidert is a retired firefighter from Orlando with 30 years experience in firefighting. He says after seeing the video of the island's mailboat burning on Facebook, he shared it. Soon after he learned that there was no fire engine on the island. Several days later, a few of his colleagues responded to the post by donating firefighting equipment to the island, including the fire engine.
Whenever we got everything here and we donated it to the island, we decided to get everybody on the island trained in EMS and fire rescue. So we got everybody outfitted with gear, as well as training them in EMS, first response, and CPR. So over the last week, started Monday, everybody on the island got free CPR that they wanted. Anybody who wanted, it was free at the hotel that we had for conference room. And then anybody who wanted to be a volunteer fireman, we got them outfitted in gear, and we gave them lectures in the morning, and then we came out here to do training in the afternoon.
The firefighting equipment has been donated by several fire stations from the United States. Former fire chief from Kissimmee Heights, Joe Diavi, has been visiting the island of Bimini for the last 10 years. He says he's experienced so much love from the natives that he's honored to give back through the training exercise.
We've been training all week long in a classroom in the second half of the day out here. Today, at the end of the training, we're trying to put it all together, from first coming on scene to cleanup. And everything in between, whether you talk about searching for victims, whether you talk about just extinguishing of the fire. So that's what we're putting all together today. We're going to start running through some scenarios all day long and make sure everything's nice and smooth.
Now, the fire training course is normally 12 weeks. Fire instructors condensed the training to 6 days. The volunteers then gave a simulation of what they were taught during training in the event of a live fire. The volunteer fighters from the island first had 1 minute 30 seconds to gear up. The volunteer fighters from the island first had 1 minute and 30 seconds to gear up. After gearing up, the volunteers got to work, breaking into a building using an axe and climbing to the second floor using the ladder. Once inside, they swept the building to find out if persons were stranded. After removing the person from the building, the volunteer fighters then performed CPR, which they were taught. The volunteers then proceeded to put the fire out using the fire engine and celebrated that no one was hurt. Rumiko Knowles, ZNS Network News.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, and as we go to our break tonight, we have a live shot of the Grand Bahama Port Authority. The GBPA is setting the pace this holiday season with a 1-hour light show every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Yes, the light show every weekend until the end of the season.